Oh boy, do we have a video today. And this is a video that I wouldn't have expected a few weeks ago, but you know what? Things have changed dramatically, and we're going to talk about none other than Ace Cy Young, two-time Cy Young Award winner, Blake Snell, coming to the New York Mets? What the heck is going on? How is this possible? Well, you know what, folks? It is possible. And there have been a lot of things that have transpired in the last couple of days that have made it more possible. First, we're going to talk about what has transpired in the Blake Snell market, what's going on. And number two, what's going on with the Mets? How did they suddenly become involved? And how realistic is it for the Mets to sign a guy like Blake Snell? Very interesting stuff. Um, First, as always, I thank you, number one. I appreciate all the comments and all your fine feedback. If you can continue to help our channel grow, please like, please subscribe, share the videos. It helps out tremendously. I really cannot thank you enough. I really can't. I can't. Okay. Blake Snell. Blake Snell. All right. So what the heck is going on with Blake Snell? He was a guy that I actually recommended a month ago. Three guys that would help the Mets: Blake Snell, Jorge Soler, and I threw in a closer. Well, Jorge Soler, it seemed like the Mets were interested in a couple of days ago. Blake Snell, the Mets were interested in a couple of days ago. And when I put out that list, everybody said, "Hey, you're nuts. The Mets can't afford any of them." And in fact, Andy Martino 3 days ago would have said, "You're nuts. The Mets only have $10 million left." So I'm pretty sure this news or interest is shocking the hell out of Andy Martino right now. So, all right. So let's educate Andy Martino on what's transpired because I'm pretty sure he could not have foreseen this. Okay, and this doesn't guarantee anything, but let's look at some facts. All right, so what has transpired in the Blake Snell market that has made it even possible for like the Mets to like be involved? Like really, like what is going on? Okay, so let's start off on you know what? I'm going to start off right about here. Okay, so I want to say this in probably the nicest way possible, but still be honest. So, folks, it seems like teams are running away from Blake Snell like he's the plague. Like he's the plague. Like in the beginning, we were trying to figure out which teams would honestly be interested in signing Blake Snell. Like what who could take the risk of signing this guy? He's been often injured. Of course, yeah, he's won two Cy Youngs. He walks a heck of a lot of people, but he has a superior talent level. He is 32, so he is getting up there in age. But let's look at this article because we're going to describe how teams are falling out of the Blake Snell sweepstakes like I just can't believe. All right, so Blake Snell has seen his free agency stock rise and fall in recent weeks. Multiple teams had been linked with the lefty ace, with the New York Yankees have made a $150 million offer. So the Yankees, they made an offer to Blake Snell a few days ago. But Snell and his agent, Scott Boras, rejected the deal. Since then, the lefty aces market has drastically changed. And perhaps not in the way Scott Boras had intended. Okay, so there is a desperate need for pitching obviously in the market right now. And Snell seems to appear to be one of the best available. But certain factors have caused doubts in teams wanting to sign the 2023 NL Cy Young Award winner. Now, the tides have turned on Snell's free agency as another suitor pulls out. So there have been many suitors that have been pulling out. So the Phillies are the most recent team. They have reportedly pulled out of the Blake Snell sweepstakes. According to Matt Gelb announced the latest news. He said the Phillies are not, barring any unforeseen market collapse, interested in Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery, according to a major league source. This has removed one more team from Snell's initial suitors. The Yankees and the San Francisco Giants had seemingly already exited negotiations after signing Marcus Stroman and Jordan Hicks, respectively. Okay, so you have big market teams who have been ready to throw money around, willing and ready to throw money around. The Giants, the Phillies, the Yankees, they were all willing and ready to throw money around. So you have the competition for Blake Snell, and the competition is drastically decreased. So obviously, when a guy out there, you need the demand there. Okay, yeah, the demand for pitching is there, but you need the suitors there. If you have many suitors, you have multiple suitors, the price tag goes up. So we might be seeing something a bit probably, I don't want to say amazing, but considering the guy just won the Cy Young, I'll just say interesting. Okay, so a few days ago, even the Los Angeles Angels, a top team interested in lefty ace, backed away. Many teams were after top pitching, but could not afford the massive contract that certain pitchers are demanding. The Angels followed a similar path and have seemingly decided to pursue budget options. Okay, it will be interesting to see how Blake Snell and his super agent Scott Boras address this market shift. How will they respond? Will their demands come down? They rejected the $150 million of the Yankees. Okay. Although there are certain teams, especially the New York Mets, that are interested in the lefty ace, and we're going to get to that momentarily. Just want to wrap this up. Although it's yet to confirm whether the Mets will be able to match or exceed the Yankees' $150 million offer. Okay, so again, the big factor in this is Scott Boras. Scott Boras is notorious. He'll take his guys to February, March. He doesn't care if he thinks he can get a big contract or a big contract is out there. He will play the waiting game. He's done that. So as we go on, Blake Snell will be following the same road that many Scott Boras clients do. The super agent liked playing the waiting game in order to get his best deal. He had done the same thing with Bryce Harper, earning his mammoth Phillies deal. Thus, despite the seeming lack of suitors at the moment, Snell need not to worry. I don't know about that. Uh, Bryce Harper was a heck of a talent a couple of years ago. Yes, the market didn't come together. I remember it almost seemed like, the teams were colluding at that time a couple of years ago. But, maybe Bryce Harper didn't get the $400 million contract, but he did get a hefty offer from the Phillies, obviously. $25 million right now. It seems like a bargain for Bryce, though. Okay, so all right. So the opinion of this is that Snell will eventually get a contract, but I want to talk. How does this affect our New York Mets? How? Okay, so we're gonna get into that right about. Okay, so right now we're just going to be dealing with facts, just facts. We're not going to deal with feelings. We're going to deal with facts. Okay. So the facts are right now is Blake Snell, Scott Boras are currently negotiating. Not well, maybe don't want to jump to negotiation, but they are discussing Blake Snell with the New York Mets, right? And the other team that appears to be discussing a possible Blake Snell, reunion. I don't want to say reunion, but coming together is the Boston Red Sox. So right now you have a whole heck of a lot of teams dropping out, and you have the New York Mets currently in the mix. And to the many surprise of many, to the surprise of many, the New York Mets may end up surprising everyone. New York already has added starting rotation help. Obviously, Luis Severino, Sean Manaea. It has been rumored that the Mets are done adding, but that may not be the case. We know they still need an ace. Kodai Senga, as good as he was last year, if the Mets' intention is to make the playoffs, which David Stern said it is, they need to get better. They need an ace. Okay, so the Mets, as I just mentioned, have been in contact with the 2023 National League Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell, according to Major League Baseball insider Mike Rodriguez. And if you've heard any of my videos, the reporters, the insiders, they've been getting things wrong. So I'm not sure how much credence, how much I want to give that report, but let's take it at face value. Let's just say the Mets are. Let's assume we are, because that's the premise of this whole video. Okay, the source also says that the Red Sox are interested, and it says the Red Sox and Mets have been in contact since yesterday with Blake Snell. Rodriguez says the left-handed pitcher is seeking a contract close to $200 million, which makes sense, which is why he rejected the $150 million offer that the Yankees proposed. Okay, so this doesn't necessarily mean a move is on the way. New York certainly could afford a move for Snell, and he immediately would be its top pitcher. But at this point, a move still should be considered unlikely. Okay, so this is the opinion of Patrick McAvoy. I think right now that we're in a unique situation right now, a very unique situation with Blake Snell. And give me one moment. I want to make this screen bigger because I have something very, very important that I want to say. Thank you so much for waiting. Okay, so the unique situation that we're in right now is we have a lot of big market teams either filled up their pitching rotation or have suddenly pulled out, right? Look at this. Like I just mentioned, the Phillies, the Yankees, the Dodgers already they're done. They're set. Then you got other teams like the Dodgers, they're already set. Then other teams like the Braves traded for Chris Sale. They're already set. I know you have the Red Sox. The Red Sox are seemingly interested, but in the last couple of years, the Red Sox have been very hesitant to dole out that big contract. So are they going to choose Blake Snell, a guy that's been often injured? Are they going to take a chance? I don't know, maybe, but this might just come down to a game of musical chairs, and maybe just by default, the Mets might be the last team standing. Now, I see Blake Snell as a guy who wants to go to a big city. I see him as a guy who wants to have the attention, have the eyes on him. That's why I have the title, King of New York. I feel that he would embrace New York for that reason, to be the star. I think he sees this option as interesting, and I could see him, if it came down to Boston and the New York Mets, making similar, I would say, low ball offers, and he had only those two options on the table. I could see just by default, you know what? Let's choose the Mets. Now, what makes the Mets want to change their plans? This wasn't in the cards. It really wasn't. They were going to go 1, maybe 2 year contracts, very short term. Obviously, we're going to play the kids. We're not going to dole out any large amounts of money. What has changed? Well, a couple things. You have the Mets already way over the 297, highest luxury tax threshold, the Steve Cohen tax supposedly. All right, so the Mets are already going to be taxed at the highest level. I believe that payroll is around $320 million. The Mets said they were going to be opportunistic. They have been saying this for quite some time. Ever since Max Scherzer got traded, Steve Cohen came out on August 5th with comments and said, you know what, we're gonna do things different. We know that spending loads of money isn't always the best way, but in this whole process going forward, we are always going to be opportunistic. Yamamoto was an example of that. We offered him the highest amount. The Dodgers matched it. He went to the Dodgers. Now, Blake Snell, what I mean, we're going to be opportunistic. If a guy with his pedigree, if the market all of a sudden collapses and Scott Boras has to shift and take maybe a contract that is in short term, and you know what? Maybe pitch next year, or have an opt out after 1 year, or if he's just got to take a total value contract, $100 million, where David Starks is saying, "Oh my God, I'm paying Luis Severino $14 million. I'm playing Kodai Senga $15 million. If I could get Snell for $21, $22 million, that might be something I can't pass up, because you're not paying the guy upper 30s or in the mid 30s. It might go to a situation where all the big market teams have said, put their hands up. No, he's not for me. And there's just no demand. It's a supply and demand thing. There has to be demand for this particular pitcher. If the demand for this particular pitcher falls off the table and the Mets are the only one that is a feasible destination, then just by process of kind of like elimination, there's no other teams that he can go to. So the Mets are the only team willing to give him like $125 million. Would you sign Blake Snell to a 5-year, $125 million? I wouldn't. It's way too long, but you know what? That's where you can get a little more creative. And that's where David Stearns has to do his magic. And if options come where he's going to take an opt out after 1 or 2 years, that is something I would consider. Give the guy $25 million for a year one and year two. Opt out after year three. Although, I mean, opt out after year two. Otherwise, then the guy's contract goes down to $15 million. You see what I'm saying? 2 years, you pay him a very high amount, or you could do 1 year, pay him 25, 30 million. Next year, it goes down to 15 million if he doesn't opt out. All right. So the first year you pay the guy 25, 30 million, structure it like that. Every year thereafter, it's 15 million. That way, if he falters, then $15 million is a very reasonable price to pay for a lefty of his stature. But again, I don't want any really long-term contracts for him. But the Mets can and should get creative, and there might be an opportunity there. What do you think? I respect your opinion. I know your opinions are great. Your ideas are great. A lot of the ideas are better than mine. So drop a comment, like, subscribe, and I will talk to you very, very soon.